What really entails being a Yahensue Rasta witch? Well, of course, as I studied Rasta, after a while, I was like, I'd studied so much about the African shamans, you know. A shaman and a witch is really the same thing. Or bush doctor, like you'll hear them called in Africa and in Rastafari. If you don't know, Rastafari is the religion of the descendants of the slaves. Their religion was taken from them. And so it's at a certain point they wanted to know, well then, what ought my religion to be now that I can explore on my own and find my own religion, And then that's Rastafari. That's what Rastafarianism's about. And I go over that in the Dragonfly Sutra in better detail. But after a while, I was like, oh, well, like, what about the shamans of my people, And I'm a Franco-Anglo-American. And so, like, the Anglo people, the shamans of Britain, of my ancestors, were the Druids and the Ladies of Avalon. And so, like, with Merlin was a Druid. And, he was a shaman of those people. He was the witchcraft back then. And, like, there's so many different myths about Merlin and things like that. But this book right here, The 21 Lessons of Merlin, A Study in Druid Magic and Lore by Douglas Monroe. This book is highly influential to me. I studied many books, The Celtic Shaman, just many books about, of course, witchcraft and the occult and the Kabbalah and Druidism. And so what this book is about is Arthur, when Arthur was a young boy, as you know, the old religion before Christianity was the Druids. They were our elders. They were our librarians, our school teachers, our scientists, our spiritualists, our priests. They played all those roles. And then when the Romans came in and conquered everything and forced Christianity down our throat, and killed all the Druids and wiped it all out and everything, so that Christianity would be our new religion. They like anyone that studied the religion at all knows that European Christianity is it's a mixture of our old religion, which is witchcraft or paganism, it can be called. And Christianity, like Christmas isn't mentioned in the Bible. Easter is not mentioned in the Bible. These things were actually pagan things, and it was all kind of mixed together. So this is a classic story of that. The would-be king, the boy Arthur, the Catholic priest, and Merlin, the old ways, Merlin, and the Catholic priest, the new ways, got together and discussed how to bring up the boy Arthur in this new world, and it was decided that Merlin would teach him some lessons, and he taught him 21 lessons as he grew up, about his spirituality, and Merlin promised the Catholic priest that he wouldn't teach him that the Catholic Church is anything bad. And then he could teach the old ways so that the old ways aren't completely extinguished. And then Arthur could represent that mixture in Britain. So these are the 21 lessons. The first lesson was he said this box right here. Inside this box is a magical item for fire, a magical item for water, a magical item for air, and a magical item for earth. And his first lesson was that he, I believe it was the first one, that he finds his own magical symbols for those elementals, and like I have, like the wand, and I made a wand. After the tradition of the Druids, I found a tree, asked it if I could take a branch, and it was an oak tree, and I made a wand. A chalice, I have a chalice that's a really old chalice, for water, and a dagger for air, and then a talisman but made out of a stone, and a seashell for earth. So like you pick your magic things, and then there was three kinds of druids. There was the apprentice, which was a green robe, and they would stain their clothes in green using plants, because they would become vegetarian and they would become closer to plants. The main object is to become closer to plants, to find your four symbols, and that's what the Kabbalah is about. YHWH, pronounced Yahweh, or for short, Jah. So that you don't cast pearl before swine, you just call it Jah for short, but it's Yahweh, and Yahweh is YHWH, fire, water, air, and earth, and you make your magical links, your magical tools, and the green robe, and learn your lessons with keeping yourself closer to nature, closer to plants. The middle one is the bard. The blue robe is the bard, and you spend most of your life a blue robe. The white robe is the elder. So Merlin, you see, is wearing a white robe. He's an elder teaching an apprentice. Arthur in the green robe. So that's where I get this book was very foundation. There's the Witch's Magical Handbook by Gavin and Yvonne Frost, some of the founders of Wicca, where they teach all gods are made by the hand of man, and you can pick your own deity or even create your own. And so I pieced all this together using the Kabbalah. With the Haile Selassie taught me about the Kabbalah. I didn't even know what that was. It's more common in Ethiopian Christianity to see Jesus as a magician and to use the Kabbalah. They're aware of the other books of Moses. There aren't 5 books of Moses. There's actually 10, but they tell you there's only 5 so that it won't sound so much like a magic thing, But then there's the green robe diet, the blue robe diet, and the white robe diet. Just like how Yahensue is all about the green robe, blue robe, and white robe, and using this layout. So that would be important for you to know, so you can know how this all works.